Welcome to another episode of the Benchwarmers. I'm Matt, here with my co-host Ryan.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 25th episode. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Benchwarmers06. Subscribe to our podcast on Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and YouTube.
On today's episode, we're going to discuss the World Cup semifinal games, and then Ryan and I will make our predictions for the World Cup championship. Then we'll discuss NBA free agency.
The Benchwarmers.
Alright, Ryan, let's get into it. So, the semifinals of the World Cup has already been played. It was all four teams were from Europe, so a lot of diversity out here. The first game of the semifinals that was played on Tuesday, France versus Belgium. My key player that I picked before the tournament from Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne, I wanted them to win, at least somebody that I wanted to win would go far. But unfortunately, the French won. They won 1-0. I was disappointed that the Belgian offense got shut down by the French defense. I mean, respect to France. I mean, I knew they were a very talented team going to the tournament, but I didn't think they would get this far. But I was hoping that the Belgium super offense, led by Eden Hazard, Lukaku, and Kevin De Bruyne, could score some goals and advance to the finals. But that was clearly not the case, and we have France on their way to the finals. What'd you think about this game?
Well, let me take a step back here. And I know we've missed, a couple of these rounds in here, but going back to when we had talked last podcast about how I said France basically had the easiest road to the championship because they've been playing better than any team out there. Belgium, the team that they had to beat to get to this point, was Brazil. I would have not picked Belgium to beat Brazil going into that game because Brazil in the previous game played phenomenal and Belgium looked terrible and just squeaked by. And then Belgium turns around and beats Brazil. I'm pretty sure it was 2-0. Did you verify that or not?
That's correct.
And then comes in this game and I thought it was going to be a great matchup. It was 2-1. That's right. Brazil did score towards the end. Thank you for that. They played well in that game, and I was taken back. I said, "Wow, this team looks like it's a team that can compete against France," and they did. And they held their own. I thought this was one of the better games. It was a great matchup. It wasn't a killer. It was it was well fought by both teams, and just the way France has been playing all tournament, they've continued that run, and they were able to get the goal in there. And it wasn't easy. Obviously, it was only a 1-0 game. But they played well. Both teams played really well. It's tough to see a team lose like that. But, in the end, after seeing the way Belgium played against Brazil, I was thinking that, hey, this could be France's time to actually get a loss in there, and then they turned around and won. So I mean, coming into this week, I was like, oh man, I think France is going to get to this point after seeing all the teams that they basically just knocked off and pretty much seemed with ease. And they turned around and Belgium made a tough game of it for France, and definitely wasn't easy for them. But like I said, France has been the most consistent team in this tournament so far, with beating teams, and they continue down that path to the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, like we mentioned, both France and Belgium are very talented teams. So I mean, you cannot be surprised by either team advancing to the finals. But I just expected Belgium to advance because, one, I wanted them to go far, and two, after beating my team the team that I picked to win the championship in Brazil, I thought they had some kind of swagger or confidence, because when you beat Brazil in the World Cup, you kind of think like, hey, maybe this team is the real deal. But I think at the end of the day, they kind of put out all their energy in that Brazil game because they knew how tough a matchup Brazil was, and maybe they just didn't have enough when it came time to play France. So on to the other semifinal matchup, Croatia versus England, which was just played a few hours ago. Well, let's start off by saying Croatia in the quarterfinals played a close game against the conspiracy-laden Russian squad. I know Ryan.
My sleeper pick right there.
Yeah, that Croatia and Russia teams won. Croatia was Ryan's sleeper team, and Russia, Ryan's conspiracy team, played against. And it was a tight. Let's say it was a tight game because it went all the way to penalty kicks, and that's where Croatia won. Which, hey, respect to Russia. I mean, I know we joke around conspiracy and all, but Russia played well this tournament. I mean, no one expected them to go to the quarterfinals. I mean, they played defense. They played defense the whole tournament. That's kind of how they got far. They kind of laid back and counterattacked when needed, and that's how they kind of advanced as far. But at the end of the day, they got as far as their team played. But Croatia beat them in penalty kicks. You can't really blame Russia for that. But obviously, everyone would agree Croatia was the better team. They're the more talented team. Then again, I thought that when Russia beat Spain, that was a complete travesty. But hey, once again, so going back to today's game, Croatia versus England. England started off well. They scored the first goal in the 5th minute on a set piece. It seemed like all tournament, England cannot score in open play. They can only score on set pieces, whether it be a free kick or a corner or penalty kicks. They can't score in open play. But they started off with a bang in 5 minutes, in the 5-minute mark. But then, in the second half, it kind of unraveled. Croatia was able to equalize. It went to extra time, and that's where Croatia then took the lead. Ryan, I'm not going to lie. Congratulations. Your sleeper team is off to the finals.
All the way to the title, baby.
I said in the beginning that I doubted the great midfield of Croatia was going to take them this far, but hey, Rakitic and Modric clearly monsters because they were able to lead their team this far. I gotta say that I'm amazed by how far they got with this team because Croatia isn't a team that you expect to go this far. Their talent. They have enough talent because they do have some superstars that play on the big European teams, but you don't think of them as a team that will go all the way to the finals. So congratulations, Ryan, that your sleeper team has made it to the championship.
All right, so my team did it. At least my sleeper team made it there, because all of my my main team blew it in the first round, basically looking terrible the entire tournament. My player of the tournament I thought who was going to be there didn't show up to play. Their team didn't show up and do anything much. So, it's good to see that my sleeper team made it there. I was very nervous in that Russia game because Russia was just taking it to them. They looked terrible. They honestly looked horrific tonight, or in that game. Not to say game, but they looked terrific, and they turned around and ended up winning. So congratulations to them in that Russian game. And then England, like I said, England outplayed them in that first half, like you said. They scored off of that kick, and it was it. And I'm like, oh man, they're not gonna do it. And then Croatia came back and tied it up, and then they ended up getting the go-ahead goal in the extra time, in the overtime play. So, they well-fought game, and England had a chance to tie it up off the set play again, since like you said they can't score off of a regular goal, and they just didn't get the ball high enough to even come close, and Croatia walks out the win, and England goes bye home. No more tournament for you. So they finally choked, like you said they were. I'm glad it was against my team who ended up advancing to the finals here. But they have a lot to improve on before that final game.
Yeah. So before we move on to talking to you about the finals, I just want to say something about England. I mean, like Ryan just mentioned, we usually are so used to saying England choked and they didn't play well or they underperformed. I honestly think they played pretty well this tournament. I mean, they made it all the way to the semis and lost to Croatia, but I gotta respect the management for the way they created their team. They made the executive decision not to keep Rooney on the team. They kind of went younger. They wanted the new blood to come in and kind of start off like this new generation, led by Harry Kane, Sterling. You know what? They did well, and there was kind of our issue with other teams, like Germany, Argentina, Spain. They're kind of holding on to that past, and they're not moving on. Well, England kind of went the other way. They're just like, you know what, the old guys are, they. I'm not saying they're not good anymore, but
they're old.
Yeah, I mean, their time has come and gone, and let the new guys play, and let's see how far they could take us. And you know what? England, I mean, their guys stepped up when they needed to. I mean, unfortunately not today. I mean, they scored a goal in the beginning, and then they kind of went downwards. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think anyone would have expected England to go all the way to semis. I mean, they're a very talented team, but we kind of expect them to choke early on. But hey, these young guys took them to the semis, and I gotta respect their English Federation for making that aggressive move by going with the young guys this tournament. And I hope this kind of gives them that stepping stone, or give them that motivation to do better in future tournaments, whether it be a couple years the Euros, or in 4 years another World Cup. It gives them that experience for these young guys to, hey, we could get far. They already know that they could play with basically any team in this tournament. They have all the talent in the world, and most of these guys play in the Premier League, which is one of the best leagues in the world, if not the best. So it's not like these guys are just random guys. So I just wanted to say that I'm kind of I gotta respect the move that they made as a whole. I wish more teams would take chances like this instead of holding on to the past.
May have seen a better Argentina team, I'll tell you that much.
So Ryan, let's talk about the finals. In a few days on Sunday, we have France against Croatia. Who do you got in this one? Who do you have holding the trophy at the end of the day?
Listen, I said Croatia was my sleeper team from the very beginning, so I'm going to go with them in that statement there. That's about it. They got a lot of ways to improve to beat France. Like I said, France has been the most consistent team this entire tournament. And if Croatia shows up and doesn't show up the way they need to against France, it's over for them. It really is. I mean, dude, like I said, France is playing at a whole nother level. Their young guys are just, playing well together. Everyone's just playing really well together. They're playing smooth. Soccer is it's flowing really well. Their offense, their defense, everything. So, Croatia's got to step it up. I'm still going to stick my sleeper team saying, that they're going to do it. But like I said, they got an uphill battle here. And they've got to, show up and prove that they can make it to beat these guys. It's not an easy matchup. England was a tougher matchup for them. Russia was a tough matchup for them. And Russia, like I said from the very beginning to you, is overrated, and it's a whole conspiracy theory thing. And I'm still sticking with this damn conspiracy theory. But, they were not that good of a team. And they had to go to penalty kicks. England was a way better team than Russia, and they barely got by on that win. And France is an even better team than that. So, they've got to put their team together. They got to go out there. They got to put their hearts into it, and they got to play a phenomenal defense and offensive set, and just play the game, and they can do it, but they got to come out playing flawless the way France has been playing. And that's going to be the toughest matchup that they'll have, because France may just end up walking all over them if they're not prepared for that.
I agree. I mean, I think both teams are very talented, but I unfortunately have to pick France here just to go against Ryan's sleeper team.
I appreciate it. Don't be jealous.
Hey, I have to, right? I kind of pick against all your teams.
Fair enough.
But I mean, like Ryan mentioned, I mean, at the end of the day, they've been looking good all tournament. So it's not like they're kind of a surprise to get here. They look like I mean, Ryan said it a few times now. They look smooth. They look efficient. That they play smart. I mean, whereas Croatia they kind of play up and down. They're not as consistent. And another thing to keep in mind, Croatia played basically 3 extra time games. All their knockout games went to extra time. Denmark, Russia, England, all extra time. I mean, I know soccer players have great stamina, but I mean, that's a lot of extra time to play. So I hope that doesn't hurt them. when it comes to the final game, I hope they still have their legs underneath them. They're able to play up to their capabilities, but I think that's one thing to keep in mind, Ryan. That's just to keep in the back of your head that maybe they're going to run out of energy, because that's a lot of soccer to play in a very short period of time. And
and France been knocking people off, like you said. No time, extra time really needed for them. I don't disagree there.
So one, I think France is just a better team, and two, Croatia having to play all that 30 extra minutes for 3 extra games, or 3 games. That's 90 minutes. They basically played an extra full game. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's
facts.
Yeah. So I mean, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal because, hey, they're soccer players, they should be able to play. I get that, but hey, they're still human. So it's just one thing to keep in mind. It's a short turnaround for all these games. It's a few days in between. So I just want to throw that out there. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think France is going to win. I think this game, at this rate, I feel like all Croatia games go to extra time, but I think this game's going to end in regulation. I want to say 2-1 France.
Oh wow, you're going to end the extra time with Croatia and say France is going to finish them the way they have been all tournament. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, if Croatia comes out to play, I don't see that being an issue. I'm going to say it's going to go to extra time, and this one actually may go to penalty kicks in the end. It may come down to that. I'd like to see them finish it in time or even extra time as opposed to penalty kicks. That's no way to really win. But I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-0 game if Croatia shows up to play on either side, whoever ends up. All right, so off of World Cup talk and on to some NBA offseason talk. And in that I mean all bums go to LA, and then you get the good players to go to Golden State. I don't know I don't know. I don't get it. LeBron James doesn't join the Sixers. Okay, cool, whatever. Goes to LA for what? I'm not sure, because we talked about it. Okay, yeah, he has ball and all that. Okay, cool. You want the dramatic with the father and all that stuff. Good, but no star joined you. You have bums. I mean, we talked about it last week while we were on the podcast. Breaking news. Blow in your ear, Lance Stevenson joins the Lakers. And the reason he even joined, I was looking, is because LeBron reached out to him to convince him to join the Lakers. What? You literally are just building the Cleveland Cavaliers all over again in LA. That's what you're doing. You're not having any stars around you with all the people who have joined. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe Matt, you can enlighten us on this one. I'm lost now. I am.
So, just to reiterate, the bums that are currently on the Lakers are Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and was there somebody else? Rajon Rondo.
Bum, and bum.
So, I'm not going to disagree with Ryan here. I don't think any of those players are good. They're mediocre role players at best. Like on a great day. But I think they're all 1-year deals. I honestly think LeBron's basically booking it this year, just tanking it this year, because let's be serious, Golden State's going to win. So I don't think LeBron's he's not kind of worried about this year. He's kind of mailing it in, so to say. I'm not saying he's not going to play or anything. I'm just saying I don't think he expects to win. So they kind of get all these guys to fill up the roster. They'll be okay. I'm pretty sure they're going to make the playoffs, because LeBron James doesn't really not make the playoffs. I know the Western Conference is good, but I feel like a LeBron James led team is going to make the playoffs. That being said, I think LeBron and Magic, they must know something, because they're kind of like, hey, this year we'll probably just be all right, but next year we'll probably make a bigger splash in free agency, that's where we're going to get the big guns, i.e., maybe a. I honestly think that's when you get Kawhi, because that's when you give you a free agent. You don't need to destroy your team. You don't need to trade off half your team for that. You just pick him a free agency. You add him onto this roster, and then boom, and maybe you get another guy, another like a big man who's in free agency, and there you go. There's your team. That's honestly what I think their strategy is. They don't want to ruin the current structure or blow up their team or lose any kind of young talent. They kind of want to just let this year go, kind of be a mediocre team, and then wait for free agency next year and pick up the pieces that you need to then be be in contention, basically. Because I think that's the year. I think they're going to get Kawhi or KD or somebody, because I think that's what's going to happen, and that's when they're going to make their push. But one thing I want to say about that is LeBron James is 33 years old. I mean, he's not getting any younger. So kind of wasting this year is kind of my issue. Is like, hey, I understand that you're not gonna win this year. You might get a second round of the playoffs, but I mean, LeBron James probably has a few more years of being a very good player. I mean, of course I say that, and LeBron James continues to just kill people anyway. I mean, so he might play till like he's 86 for all I know, but. I just think wasting a year of LeBron James's peak is probably not the smartest thing to do, but I see what they're trying to do from a team perspective. They don't want to lose any of their young guys, which I know Ryan doesn't think they're that good anyway.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say they weren't good.
Yeah, but you don't think that they're like some kind of superstar. You don't think Ingram and Kuzma.
Well, no. I like Ingram and Kuzma. I think they got some potential. I think that they can turn into something. I'm just talking about ball. I don't feel it has the potential, really.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think that the guys that they picked up, the older guys that they picked up, were just basically like 1 year rentals to kind of like, all right, well, kind of throw them out there, see what they do. But I think the thing is, they're going to basically try to get the younger guys up to speed. So. I think that's my thing. I think that's their plan for this year. Kind of like be okay, kind of get used to LeBron being in LA, play with the younger guys, see how they're coming along, and then next year make their splash, get the guys that they need to be in contention.
Well, thanks for that insight, Matt. I get it, but in the end, you could have just stayed with Cleveland, done the same thing in your hometown, because like I said, tanking a year just makes no sense here. I still don't get it. Still makes no sense to me. Why even go there to tank a year in LA? You're basically rebuilding the Cleveland Cavaliers over in LA. Makes no sense. But let's talk about the Warriors and what they've added to this team. In a man by the name of DeMarcus Cousins.
Boogie!
Thanks for that, Matt. Yes, Boogie Cousins. DeMarcus Boogie Cousins goes and turns down what I'm pretty sure was a $40 million deal that his team was offering him, which was in New Orleans in AD, to go play for $4 million in Golden State.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so what's the purpose of this?
But Ryan, I mean, do you blame him for that? I mean, let's be serious. I mean, you play to win, right?
You play to win a championship, but you had a team that with you and AD, without AD, they did really well. You add you to the mix to actually play and be healthy, and you got a team that can compete against these guys.
Who are you talking about?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but if you remember, right, they played well in the playoffs without him, so they didn't really need him when they swept the Blazers in the first round, and
yeah, but I'm talking about they need
right.
him for the future.
So I mean, maybe, what's that?
They offered him $40 million, so there's obviously some reason they wanted him.
That is correct, but I mean, let's be serious. So maybe he figured that they didn't respect him. They're just like, we don't kind of need you anyway. We're kind of okay where we are. And they ended up picking Julius Randle, thinking that he was a younger and less volatile guy. Pelicans, I'm speaking of. So,
well, Randle is a whole different issue. You want to talk about a Laker I dislike? That's Randle. I don't think he has any potential whatsoever. So I think they just hurt themselves in the Pelicans by picking up Randall when you had Cousins who they wanted when they were offering him the money. So that's what I just don't fully get that part. I mean, yeah, I get you want a title.
Yeah, and which is fine. I mean, he did kind of leave. I agree. He did leave money on the table there. But hey, we insult and make fun of players all the time for not winning championships, and all that they care about is money. And here we have Boogie,
who's doing the same thing as KD we're talking about. He's not on that level anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But
yeah, what's the point? You want to put yourself on that high tier level to make sure you're a top 10 player.
I get it, but also I get both sides though. I mean, he wants to win a championship. He hasn't even played in the playoffs yet in his career.
And they're still not gonna. He still won't play any playoffs because he won't make the playoffs with Golden State.
If Golden State doesn't make the playoffs, if Golden State does not make the playoffs this year, I will move to freaking East Sudan right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. When the Golden State Warriors don't make it to the playoffs, you will see Matt moving to East Sudan. That's all we're saying. We wish you good luck. So, I didn't fully get why not go to LA and play with LeBron. But, he wanted to play for Golden State and compete against LeBron and everybody else and just take the easy road out. Sure, hey, go ahead. That's what you want to do, Boogie. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I was more surprised that he didn't go to the Lakers. I thought LeBron would try to get Boogie on his team instead of him going to Golden State. But from what I heard, the Lakers did not want Boogie because of the fact that he would not be playing until at the earliest January, and they didn't want to pay a guy who probably won't play for more than half the season. So they didn't see a point to that. So I get it. So hey, he's going to Golden State. It's going to be interesting because I'm kind of intrigued on how they're going to fit him in that playing style because he's not the running gun type guy. He's a post-up guy. So he kind of needs a slow offense. So I'm kind of wondering how that would work. He goes against the whole Golden State offensive style. So I wonder, but hey, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big deal though. I mean, because if teams want to play big against Golden State, you have Boogie. I mean, he's one of the best offensive centers we have in the game. So I don't see this as a real negative. But as Ryan mentioned, I don't think this makes Golden State better, if that makes any sense. I think this kind of just makes them about the same because what JaVale McGee, yeah, he's a kind of an idiot, but he plays defense. He kind of plays that. He could run with that offense because he goes for alley-oops. He kind of gets offensive rebounds. He kind of does all the dirty stuff where, yeah, Boogie gets rebounds, but he kind of plays that slow, I'm going to post you up, I'm going to give you a good jab step and stuff like that. So, and he plays zero defense. He does not protect the rim at all. So where he might be a plus on offense, he's a negative on defense. So that's why I think it's not a advantage for Golden State. It's kind of a neutral addition for Golden State.
Or you could look at it as a negative hit because he's not there. It could be a 4-on-5 a lot of times, depending on teams that are going to run a gun against him. But, on some other things, another odd thing I saw was Tony Parker leaving San Antonio. What's going on in San Antonio?
Sad day, my friend. I did not think Tony would ever leave Popovich, but
I don't know what Pop is doing there. I don't know who Pop's offended. You got Kawhi first, and now you've got Parker to pretty sure with Charlotte. I don't get it. It's like seeing all these older players that disappeared to go to the random team at the very end of the career. Why just retire at that point? You're not going to help the team anymore. You're used to your jersey color.
Tony's been a very good player for a long time. Won 3 championships with San Antonio. Part of that core, that Ginobili, Duncan, Parker core. But hey, I guess it's the time has come where the Spurs are slowly falling apart. No, I wouldn't call it falling apart, but the core guys, I mean, they're old now. I mean, Duncan obviously retired. Parker just left for what, Charlotte, and you have Ginobili.
Yeah, but this team is always
yeah. I'm not really including
team.
him because he'll be gone at some point.
And don't forget the time he played with David Robinson as well. But this team is just slowly fading away. It's kind of sad to see. This was the top tier team back in the day, and now they really aren't going to have anybody on their team. Another one I was kind of taken back by in this whole movement was after Melo signed with OKC. OKC is letting him talk with other teams, and one of them is his old coach, who's now the head coach of the Houston Rockets. And they're looking at bringing him on board there, and D'Antoni thinks it's a good idea because Melo's matured. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't fully understand it. The reason OKC had some problems was because of the way Melo wanted to play his game, and that's not the game anymore. You have the ball with CP3 and Harden in Houston, and then you got to throw Melo into that mix. I mean, unless he finally figured out that role play towards the end of the season with OKC and he can bring that into Houston, I just don't see that as being a good fit, really.
Yeah, I have no idea. Because you lost Trevor Ariza, you lost Luke Mute. These were all defensive players who were great. Not great, but they were decent three-point shooters. Kind of did their job. Role players. Now you get Carmelo Anthony. I don't know. Kind of screws up that whole foundation they have over there in Houston. Because, I mean, we all know Houston's offense runs through CP3 and Harden. Throwing Melo in this mix, I don't know. I kind of have a bad feeling about this. Because Melo doesn't want to come off the bench. If Melo want to come off the bench, yeah, that'd be fine. Because then he could go and gun against the second unit. And they wouldn't screw up the Harden and CP3. But if he wants to start, I don't know. Because, I mean, we know he doesn't play defense. And over the last couple of years, his offense has been very inefficient. He kind of just guns three-pointers and long twos. He doesn't really go to the free throw line as much as he used to back in the day with Denver and the early part of New York days. So, yeah, I heard that they really want him, but I'm not really sure why. And Houston, they also are in negotiations with Clint Capella, and he wants a lot of money. So I'm not really sure what Houston's doing. They were one game from going to the championship last year, and this is going to be a totally different team this year. And this is, a year older for CP3, who, we already know he has like a ton of injuries. And Melo, he's sure to get hurt at some point. I don't know. I don't know what Houston's trying to do. I mean, if that's what they want, if they want Melo, go for it. But I don't really see this being a great positive at the end of the day.
All right, so on to the hot topic. And for my hot topic this week, I'm going to talk about the only Phillies player making it to the All-Star game. And that's right, I'm talking about Aaron Nola, who has given this Phillies team, some sort of a jump and how well they've played this whole entire season. They're a playoff contention team. They've been fighting back and forth at times for that number one spot in the division. It's been great to see. This team picked him up, at the end of the season last year, and he's come in this year, and it's just been a whole different Phillies team altogether. This has been a exciting team to watch, and he's their pitcher. And he doesn't pitch every game, obviously, but this whole team has just come together once he got on this team, and I'm still not going to say coaching is a part of it. As to why they're doing that good, they picked up the right players in the offseason to get this team to where they are. But he was definitely a big part of this team and where they got to at this point. So congratulations to him and how the Phillies have been playing all year.
Yeah, like Ryan mentioned, it's great to see Aaron Nola play well. I mean, we knew the reason why he got drafted so high was because, he definitely had a lot of talent and potential. But it's good to see that he's actually living up to that this early in his career. His first All-Star game. The Phillies are currently number one in the NL East by one game. So it's awesome to see that. I hope they keep it up. And I hope Nola does well in the All-Star game and he kind of rides that momentum into the second half of the baseball season. And I hope the Phillies win the division. But, it might be too early to say that. On to my hot topic for this week. Going back to soccer. Got big movements here, Ryan. One of the superstars of the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, is being transferred from Real Madrid to the Italian team Juventus for basically $100 million transfer fee. He's going to make a salary of about $63 million a year, which is craziness. It's a lot of money. I'm surprised that Ronaldo wants to leave the Spanish league. Real Madrid won 3 straight Champions Leagues. He's had a lot of success there, but I guess he thought it was time to move to another challenge, and now he's going to the Italian league. Juventus, they're one of the best teams in the world. Also, they're the best Italian team. They won 7 straight Italian league titles. So it's not like he's not going to some garbage team, but the Italian playing style is much different than the Spanish league. It's a little more physical. And Ronaldo, he's also 33 years old now, so you would think that he'll be on his downward spiral now. But hey, he played pretty well last season. He played okay in the World Cup. We'll see how many years he has left here. I personally think Juventus is kind of rolling the dice here with getting an older player, even though he's a superstar. Maybe they just want to, get that marketing grab, make all the money in the front end, and they could make their money up that way. But hey, we'll see how this goes.
Overpaid, overrated. Maybe not overrated. Definitely overpaid here. Listen, we just talked about it with the way England has formed their team. Yeah, we're talking about World Cups here, but they went with a younger lineup and they looked really well. I'm not saying Ronaldo looked bad in the World Cup, because he did actually look decent. Well, beyond that, but I just think this is ridiculous. And, I see Juventus maybe not winning this one this year just because of adding him. And I'm not saying that, but like you said, it's a different play style. And, he's getting up there in age. I think he's way overpaid for what they want. And, this actually may hurt them and all that, which part of me would just laugh to see, because they paid so much for the guy and they don't even win it. But hey, that's just me and I think the irony of it all. But they went with the older player, and I don't fully understand the amount of money they paid for him. It's outlandish, it really is. But hey, all congratulations to Ronaldo to be able to get paid that much money, the highest paid athlete ever to date. So hey, good luck on that paycheck. I wish you guys pay me that much to talk about you guys. But hey, we'll see what they end up doing see what he ends up doing with Juventus. But I don't fully understand the amount of money he got for his age.
And just quickly to go over the other side, Real Madrid is one of the most prominent teams in the world, not just soccer. And here they got $100 million for selling Ronaldo. I'm sure they're going to go and buy somebody of big time status. A lot of rumors say they're going after Eden Hazard of Chelsea, who plays for Belgium in the World Cup, or Mbappe of the 19-year-old who plays for France, who just played for PSG, or Neymar, who's played for PSG or Brazil. Hey, Hazard, Neymar, Mbappe, you can't really go wrong with any of them. But hey, they got money to spend, and I think they're going to spend it, because Madrid is like the Lakers. They're a big-time franchise, and they love to spend money on the big-time players. And now that they lost Ronaldo, they need somebody to fill that place, and I think they're definitely going to do it. Personally, I kind of hope it's a Neymar or a Mbappe, because Mbappe, because he's 19 years old, is kind of my only trepidation. But it's not like he killed it in the World Cup. I mean, still is. He's still in there. He had a great season at PSG, so maybe he's the way you go. Or you could obviously go with the surefire Neymar, who, he just does what he does. It'd be funny if he goes from Barcelona to PSG to Madrid. But hey, either way they go, you can't really go wrong with any of those three players. So I'm intrigued to see where they go. Well, that's all we have for this week's episode of the Benchwarmers. Once again, please subscribe to our podcast on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at Benchwarmers06. Thanks again. See you guys next week.
The Benchwarmers.